Hey everyone, thanks so much for tuning in today. Back in May, my wife and I had the opportunity to visit and to railfan the Cumberland Mine Railroad in southwestern Pennsylvania, courtesy of my good friend Dave. For those of you who don't know Dave, he works on the track maintenance crew there at the mine, and he hosts the YouTube channel CCRX 6700, That's Railroading. Dave's passion for his work on the rails is infectious, and he brings railroading to the viewer like no one else. I'll leave a link to his channel in my video description. Thank you so much, Dave, for having us. Anyway, on to the footage.
After a late night of travel, we woke up in our Airbnb in the small town of Waynesburg, Pennsylvania. I had barely scraped myself out of bed when I received a text from Dave letting me know that we were in luck. A train was running that morning, and if we hurried, we could catch the loaded train on its next trip. We made plans for a rendezvous point, and we were off, packing our car in near record time. Just a few minutes later, we met Dave, and he ushered us quickly to our first viewing point. We arrived just in time for me to get my drone in the air to catch this first shot. The Cumberland Mine Railroad has 3 locomotives on their roster. Today, we caught SD38-2 number 22 leading, and at the rear, their original locomotive, SD38-2 number 1. The train consisted of 37 loaded coal hoppers, just 1 hopper shy of their maximum train length. Naturally, after I landed the drone, we hopped back in our car and it wouldn't start. A few minutes dragged on for what seemed like an eternity, but with a hectic repair attempt, our car was running again and the chase was back on. We followed Dave to the next location for another glimpse of the loaded coal train. About 2.5 miles further down the line, we caught the loaded train one more time before it came to a stop. The train was arriving at the end of the line where the coal would be unloaded. train came to a stop, and the engineer then began the process of unloading coal from each car. Though it wasn't actively being used that day, I did get a quick glimpse of the third locomotive on the Cumberland Mine roster. This is SD40-2 number 3098. The Cumberland Mine is an isolated railroad and is not physically connected to any other rails. So from here, the coal is loaded into a silo, then transferred to barges on the Monongahela River, where about 90% of the coal will travel to domestic customers. The remaining roughly 10% of the coal will be moved via barge and loaded onto a CSX train and then taken to Baltimore. In Baltimore, the coal is then loaded onto a ship and will begin its journey to international customers. Once all of the cars were emptied, the train was prepared to head back west to be reloaded. It's just shy of 17 miles and takes about 45 minutes for the train to make the trip to the other end of the line. With the locomotives continuously set up in a push-pull arrangement, the train simply backs its way to the coal mine. All three locomotives are set with their cabs facing east, so loaded coal trains will always run cab forward. The engineer gradually stepped the train forward while he loaded each car. Once he has finished loading the 37-car train, he prepared the train to head back east to unload, and the process started all over again. I moved my drone around a few times and filmed the loading process from several different vantage points. As I was still sampling more angles, my drone camera stopped responding and I was forced to land early. Not a good day for any of my machines. I snapped a few still photos while I was repositioning the drone, and I'll leave some of these shots with you now. I also had my trusty Nikon camera by my side, so I'll throw in some of the photos captured with that camera. Well, that's all I have to share today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed sharing our day with us, railfanning the Cumberland Mine Railroad.